What's up guys, Jiving back with another video. So recently I watched MrSavage's first place in the first solo cash cup on EU. This had to have been one of the best performances I've ever seen in a cash cup. After watching it, I really don't even know if this man is real. He might be a robot just made to play Fortnite and win every single tournament, I don't know. But I learned a lot of stuff while watching him play. Some rotational tricks, some ways to get refreshes, and just the way he uses a harpoon so well is insane. So in this video, I'm going to share everything I learned and some examples from the gameplay. But if you haven't seen his full video on it yet, you should definitely go check it out. Link is in the bio. Before we hop into the video, please consider using code JIVINTV in the Fortnite item shop. But without further ado, let's get into this video. So let's start with game 1. First thing I noticed in his early game fight was that he did not pull out his gun while edit coursing. And this is really important, especially in the laggy Cash Cup lobbies. If you guys played the Cash Cup or the Bragging Rights tournament this past week, you know the servers were extra laggy. And I was having trouble completing edits, and I think it's because I was pulling out my gun after every single edit. And in these laggy lobbies, if you don't pull out your gun and just keep your builds held out, it'll help you be able to edit faster, especially on laggy lobbies. Another thing he does so well is calculating his movement and positioning during fights. He's constantly reading his opponent and trying to figure out what their next move is, and he positions himself perfectly to counter those moves. Whether it be going behind cover when he knows they're going to be making an edit, or piece controlling from behind cover and just setting up really good peeks, and he's so good at keeping the pressure on his opponent, never giving them a chance to even breathe during a fight. There was one fight that I'm going to show right here. He literally pushed into an entire tarp, like a whole tunnel of enemy builds. But what he did to make this safe was constantly tracked his opponent while pushing into their builds. That way, if the opponent edits up and then tries to edit down on him from above, he'll be ready for it. And while he's pushing through the tunnel, he's constantly claiming stuff so that he can escape if he needs to. He doesn't waste time claiming every single build in the box, but he claims enough so that he has an exit if he needs it. Whenever I get into a position like that, I always think, okay, I'm not going to push through their builds, I'll just get clapped. But after watching MrSavage do it, I think I'm going to be a little more confident with it. You just got to keep your eyes on the enemy, make sure that you know what they're doing, where they're going, and be claiming enough stuff so you can escape. So game 2, I noticed he didn't take any early or mid-game fights. He was landing super safe and just focusing on positioning in the game. Now, a lot of people think that you need to W key in cash cups, which in some situations, especially last season, towards the end of the season when everyone was in champs, yeah, you needed to W key because you could get into some bot lobbies at the start. But especially right now, there's really not that many bad players in champs. So if you take mid-game fights, you're probably going to become shambles after those fights. MrSavage hardly took any. I think he took 3 throughout the entire tournament. On top of that, the Cash Cup is heavily based on placement, 30 points for the win, 1 point per kill. That's extra incentive to play for the endgame. I was kind of surprised by this because, MrSavage is one of the best fighters in the game, yet he wasn't taking any mid-game fights. Later on in the season, there might be more incentive to W key your first game, but for now, the Cash Cups are very much placement based and you shouldn't even be looking for fights in mid-game. It's most likely just going to make you shambles. Even if you win the fight, you might get third-partied and die. So one of the biggest things I learned about late game while watching MrSavage is that he only focuses on moving forward. A lot of times in my rotates, say moving zone is happening and it pulls all the way across zone. I'm on the back edge of zone and I need to get all the way to the front edge of zone. I'll get halfway there and I'll get distracted and start picking a fight because I see a free kill. But by the time I get that kill, I'm on back edge of zone again and I'm shambles. What MrSavage did was he constantly looked forward. He never turned around and looked back until he got to the front edge of zone, and then he'd look back for kills. But the only fights he would take were with people that are ahead of him. He just keeps his momentum going. He keeps moving forward. Maybe he'll take a shotgun shot. If he doesn't get a crack, he won't push. But if he hits somebody for 80 white, he'll just psycho into their box. But other than that, he just keeps moving forward until he's on front edge of zone or 3/4 of the way to the front edge of zone. And once he gets to that point, he'll box up and look back for kills. And he always has a harpoon, so he'll be able to get the refreshes on back edge of zone if he picks up kills. Another thing I noticed in game 2 is that he didn't really waste time farming natural mats on the map. If he still had 10 solid builds, he'll just focus on getting a kill rather than farming mats. Getting a kill will give him health, it'll give him more mats than he'll get from farming this tree. And if he farmed the tree, then he might get, a little bit distracted and won't be able to make a play as fast on his opponents. Game 3, he got pushed by a primal shotgun, like absolutely psychoed. And the way he handles this is he quickly edits out the side, looks back, takes a quick shot, and resets the wall. I saw him do this a few times in the tournament, and he absolutely destroyed primal users by doing this. He kept his distance while also making sure he didn't get trapped in a box with them, but then went for a quick shot so that they wouldn't keep psychoing. His mechanics are so nutty, dude. I swear he's a robot, I swear. MrSavage, come visit me at my house, shake my hand, and maybe I'll consider you to be a human. Maybe. So in this late game during his rotate at one point, he had to box up and heal. But one thing I noticed is before he left his box, he was really slow to leave. He didn't have a cone to peek through the top and see what's going on around him. So what he did was kind of bait and edit out the side. He made a top right triangle edit and then closed it to see if anybody tried to psycho in. And then he slowly went out and started his rotate and never looked back. He just kept moving forward, blocking off his back, and kept his eyes on the road ahead. And now this is one of the ways Savage gets mad refreshes with a Harpoon. He uses the Harpoon so well. So what he does, if he sees somebody above him and knows that their floor or cone is one shot from a Harpoon, he'll pre-box below them, shoot the Harpoon, get them to drop in his box, and then take a quick pump. He does this so much, and it oftentimes gets him mad refreshes. I tried it in Twitch Rivals the other day, and it worked. I got a kill right away with that strat. So yeah, I saw him doing the Harpoon play from below so many times, and it worked pretty much every time. You just gotta be quick with it. One of the best things about MrSavage is his decision making is just so dang fast. If he hesitated with this, he might not get the kill, but he's so quick with it. And when you do it with no hesitation, you're more likely to hit your shots and fight it confidently. Something else he did when he was trying to get a refresh is he would get ahead and try to predict where rotators are gonna be. For example, he'd chop into a tunnel and just leave it open and peek through there because he had a hunch that somebody was going to be rotating through there and not expect him to be camping there. And sure enough, he got a refresh doing that. So game 4, I took another note that he either has a Harpoon or RPG every single game. If he only has one shot in an RPG, he's 100% taking a Harpoon every time. One thing that I realized I needed to practice after watching MrSavage is weapon switching between my shotgun and my Harpoon. He constantly uses the Harpoon in late game, and I don't think I'd be able to switch between weapons as fast as he does, but I think it's definitely necessary, especially in a cash cup. So what I might do to practice that is just go into creative, set up some natural builds that I can practice breaking through, and then set up some loot on the side and just practice tunneling around, breaking through builds that are already there, and harpooning mats anytime I see it, just to get that weapon switching down, because it's so important. In game 4, he used the Harpoon to get some mats that are in the storm, and he didn't waste too much time doing so. If he got tunnel vision and kept shooting that loot, trying to get as much of it as possible, he probably would have gotten held on the back edge of zone. So he just focused on staying forward. In game 5, I saw him drop his big pots for Harpoon, another example of how important it is in late game. And when he's moving through enemy builds in this late game, he's constantly has his shotgun out trying to get ready for anybody to take shots on him. He knows that he's in danger when he's in their builds, so he's just ready to take shots. And if you're ready to take shots, you're more likely to hit it. So when you're going through enemy builds, always have your gun at the ready and be constantly scanning the area, looking for any threats. That way you can take a quick shot if you need to. In game 5, he has the most insane clutch with an RPG. He used the RPG so well in this game. I definitely recommend checking it out. Game 6, another way he uses the Harpoon so well is just breaking through builds so fast. Anytime he got in a sticky situation, say he's on back edge of zone and there's 3 people around him, he just instantly turned, harpooned out the side, and then got out of there. If he had used his pickaxe, it would have been 3 times slower and he might have gotten shot before he got out, but the Harpoon, you can just run through walls. You literally become Casper the Ghost and just can get out of there immediately. Game 7, he used an RPG the same way to get refreshes as he did the Harpoon. He would set up a pre-box below somebody that's above him, and then RPG them down into that pre-box and go for shots. The Harpoon is probably better for this move because the RPG is a little sketchy in this situation, but it's definitely still a really good move to get refreshes if you need it. If you don't have a Harpoon, if you hit a kill on back edge of zone while you're on the front edge of zone, you're not going to be able to get those refreshes. So looking for a fight closer to you is a lot better. He got weak at one point in this endgame, and so he got up a few layers before healing, because if you're on low ground while healing, you're probably going to have some psychos with no mats trying to psycho in your box. So when he got weak, he immediately built up 1 or 2 layers and then started healing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he only played 7 games because that's where my notes end. He literally went insane, absolutely destroyed everyone in the Cash Cup, had so many points. I can't even imagine. Still think he might be a robot. But anyways, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Go check out MrSavage's video. You'll learn so much watching it. Also, don't forget to come stop by the Twitch stream sometime and use code JivinTV in the item shop. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.